guys, welcome to Sunday Night Live. Tonight, as I promised, I've been promising this for like months now, right? Months. Tonight we're going to be doing an actual demonstration of how to do a simple phishing attack. So, simple phishing attack is a demonstration, but of course I have to explain the concept of phishing first. And once I explain that, then I'll demonstrate to you how it works. And wait now, how the category this thing still saying gaming? I didn't change it. Education, save. Alright, cool. Yeah. Alright, so good night, all of y'all who've been looking forward to this. Yeah, Jared, you were first. Look at all you. I was fighting for what everybody who was first and whatnot. Hey. Alright. Yeah, so for the people watching this after the fact, you're most likely going to just, you're going to look at the name of the video and then say, okay, cool, I want to just actually see the phishing attack. But remember, there's a live video. So live is all about, you know, the interaction and the people and whatnot. So more than likely, you're going to have to skip forward to actually get to the actual phishing attack. If I feel like it, I'll cut it into a shorter video and you will look at it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But of course, I have to let you know before we start that this video is brought to you by me. My name is Mr. Charles from makeITsimpleTT, and this is my website. I do classes for IT, ComSci, and information technology. So IT for CSEC, IT for CAPE, and computer science for CAPE. So you check that there if you want to be a part of any of the classes because you realize that school is not opening and you need somebody to teach you. Fill out the form, submit it, choose your area, and I will get back to you and you will be able to join the class or whatnot. Cool, good, wonderful, nice. Alright, so those of you all on the inside, well, boy, Jared, boy, who else go sponsor me but me, boy? I'm a biggest supporter, you know. Don't worry, one day we'll get like sponsors from, I don't know, from somewhere. All right, so we go in. What are you talking about there? Good game. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna play any of the new games because you require a really powerful computer for that, and it'll take up too much resources. I just play games for fun. All right, what about me supporting? So yeah, you could support, you know, but it just wouldn't be a sponsor. A sponsor is like you pay money, you know. All right, so let me go through the breakdown. So we're going through a phishing attack, right? Well, we even reached the 5-minute mark when I'm starting. Well, get the live a little share here and there, share around, share to wherever it is, share to the groups and them thing, the WhatsApp groups and whatnot, because they will like, I think a lot of people will like this and they will want to know more about it, right? So let's go. Alright, so phishing. Phishing. Right, phishing is kind of like a cute way of saying fishing, and fishing means that you drop a hook, right? That's kind of like a fish hook there. Right, so you drop a fish hook and then a fish will bite it. This is me trying to draw a fish right now. Right, so a fish will come and bite the hook. So when the fish comes and bites the hook, they will get caught, and then the fisherman will pull you up and take whatever the fish hadn't, right? So what really happening is that your phishing attack is basically you throwing a hook into the water and hoping that somebody will bite. Right? So we good there so far? So what you're going on now? So, well, don't forget to like the video. I mean, all you should know by now, those of you all that are here, that you like the video, right? Right, so a phishing attack, good. So, what really happens is that you are on a computer here, and there is a server here. So, you on your PC here, and then the server is here. So, what's supposed to happen is that you will send a request to the server, and you will say, hey, I want gmail.com. And then the server, which is Google server, will be like, hey, the server will be like, ha, Nani, do I have gmail.com? And then it will be like, yes, I have gmail.com. So the server will send back the Gmail website, gmail.html, right, which is a HTML page. The HTML page now will come, and then it will display whatever, and then you will get the ability to log in, and you'll get the username and password block, right? That's what happens normally when you send information to a server and it comes back. You will get the information to log in, and that's cool. Now, when you actually try to do the login now, you will send the login information now, login, which will have your password, sorry, your username and your password will go to the server, and then the server will send back something called authentication. Right, so once the authentication comes back, then I couldn't say authentication there for a while, it's authentication, yeah. So once the authentication comes back, you'll log in and you'll get an email. What phishing does is, when you see you send this login information here, so this arrow here, what we basically want to do is we want to hijack this arrow. So when you send the login information, so we're going to take out the authentication part and be like, all right, no authentication. What happens is that when you send your username and password, U1P, what happens is that a phishing attack creates a man in the middle. Right? So in hacking terms, you just call it a man in the middle attack, right? So the man in the middle attack now will take the authentication with the username and password, and it will drop it here. And then your username and password will end up getting stored on this computer. And then it will send the actual request to the server, and then the server will be like, oh, something happened along the way, but I'm not too sure what happened, and the server will send back the authentication. So the authentication comes back. So you on your little PC here think, well, yeah, everything was good because I got back the authentication. But what really happened is that halfway along the way, they took your letter, open it up, steal your username and password from it, seal back the letter, and then send it back to the server, and nobody knew what was happening. So what was happening is that you have this man in the middle attack that was going on here. So this is basically the concept of phishing. Alright, ask your questions now, because I'm going to fire up the VMs. Right, so time for the demonstration part of this, right? This is where you need to be mature in life and try to ask yourself, wait, do I really, how am I really going to use this in life, right? So I fire up the virtual machine here. I have to use two virtual machines to get this to work, right? So remember, phishing is you are dropping a hook, and the hook goes in, somebody bites the fish and sends information. So somebody wants to log into gmail.com, they go to gmail.com, the server will respond normally and give you the ability to log in. But then when you send your username and password, a man in the middle will take the username and password and then repackage your stuff, send it back to the server, so the server doesn't know what happens, and then it will send back the authentication, and you will think you logged into Gmail, but really and truly somebody took your password, right? Right, so I have to use two virtual machines to get this done because I'm not doing it on my live machine. So the first virtual machine I'm going to run is one called Kali Linux. The reason it's called Kali Linux, I don't know why they call it Kali Linux, but you have to use Linux to do it because Linux is the best penetration testing tool, right? So I have to fire up one virtual machine, which is going to be the attacker. So the Kali Linux machine, Kali Linux, is going to be the attacking machine, which is the one that's going to be the actual man in the middle, right? So if you watch carefully here, the man in the middle here is what I'm going to be using. This one here, we're going to call this guy Kali. Kali, right? So while Kali Linux starting up there, this is how Linux does normally start up. Also command line stuff and whatnot. How did I install Kali Linux on this machine? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to figure it out by yourself. Right? So opening up Kali Linux, it's supposed to open up now. So we get in the attacker. Let me name this one. This is the attacker. This is the what should I put in red? Attacker. This one here is the what is called the person, not the attackee, the victim. Yeah, victim. So I'm gonna name this guy here victim. Alright, let me see if this boots up by now. Did it boot up yet? Alright, it's almost there. Right, so remember you need to understand what is happening, and because if you don't understand what is happening, then it would make sense while I'm doing it. Because 90% of hacking is understanding where the vulnerability is and then exploiting it. And if you know how to exploit it, you will be able to get it, right? So I'm going to just make this a little bigger for you all to see. Settings. I have the resolution kind of small because normally when I'm working on the virtual machines, I'll not I'd already try to make them too big. Come on. And I think I only allocate like 2 gigs of RAM to this virtual machine so that it will drag a little bit, but no, small thing. Displays, make the display a little bigger. Come on, display. Change it to what, 1024 by 768. Let's see. Right, yeah, that was a little bigger now. Right, good. Okay, so y'all could see that, right? Y'all could see. And this thing here called Kali Linux has a whole lot of different applications that do different things. So you would have things for information gathering, analysis of vulnerabilities, web application analysis, database management, password attacks, wireless attacks. It might be a little small on the screen, but I kind of want this to be a little small because I don't want to be, advertising too much to all you. Next thing I get too excited, right? Reverse engineering exploitation tools, sniffing and spoofing, post-exploitation, forensics reporting tools, social engineering tools, system services, and then user applications, right? So all those are things that come pre-built with Kali Linux, and that's basically what you're going to end up with, right? So next one now, I'll fire up a next virtual machine, which going to be the which has to be the victim, right? So I'm going to fire up a victim in Ubuntu, which is a next Linux machine, right? So right now I'm going to have 2 Linux machines running on top of my Windows machine, right? So I have Windows, and now I have 2 Linux machines running in virtual mode. That one is going to be the attacker, and the next one is going to be the victim. So while the Ubuntu is starting up, I'm going to show you what inside Kali Linux will look like. What happened to you, Ubuntu? Okay, starting up, right. Okay. I think I need to make the resolution on this one a little bigger so y'all could see. Alright. Alright, so any questions so far? I'm going to make the resolution a little bigger. I'm going to carry it up to like 1366 by 768. see how big this will get now. Yeah, that's a little taller. I will keep it like this. Alright, cool. Alright. So I have two machines. Remember, this one is the let's call this word. This one is the victim. I'll make the screen a little bit bigger so you can see. Settings does take a while to open up here. Displays 1280 by 1024. Will it allow me to apply it? Oh wait, okay, let's make the Ubuntu one bigger by doing this. Alright, 1280 by 1280. I don't want it to be too huge so that I take up my whole screen. Alright. Apply. Alright, good. Nice. We're going to keep this configuration. Nice. Alright, so are you ready? Yeah, cancel the Dropbox already. Okay, yeah. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Did I not click apply? Oh, right. Alright. So we have to go into Kali Linux. Let's start. So the first thing we have to do is we have to go into what type of exploitation we want to do, and the exploitation we want to do is using a program called SET, Social Engineering Toolkit. So I'm going to open up this thing called SET, Social Engineering Toolkit, and social engineering is basically going to say that the weakest point of any network is always going to be the user. The user will always be the weakest point. Like, there are many exploits that you have on a computer, there are many issues that you might face while you're using a computer, and they're like coders could make problems or whatnot, but the weakest part will always be the human, because simply we tend to take the easy way out, whereas computers, when they are coded, the programmers take the hard way and make sure everything is airtight, and then we'll come up with our password like password 1 and think that, hey, we're so secure, or we'll put in our password of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Nobody gonna attack the actual computer if you could just guess the human password, which is really easy. So what social engineering toolkit tries to do is attack the human part of it, not the computer part, but it's still a little bit of the computer part, right? So, believe it or not, this has terms of service. So you agree to the terms of service by pressing yes. Everything here inside here had to be done via command line, right? If you're not doing it via command line, then what are you really doing with your life, right? So, in command line, right? So now I have the choices of social engineering attacks, fast track penetration testing, or third-party modules. So I'm going to choose one. One is a social engineering attack. And then I'm going to choose, well, I have plenty of things to choose from here, right? But I'm going to choose number 2, which is website attack vectors, right? So I'm choosing a website attack because I want to create a phishing attack. And then I'm going to use number 3, which is a credential harvester. So I go to 3 and I go to credential harvester. Right. So I don't know if you see at the bottom there. When you use a credential harvester, you have 3 things to choose from. You could choose from a web template, a site cloner, or a custom import. Remember what I showed you all here? Basically, what we are doing is we are creating a man in the middle for the user to put in their username and password into this space here. So in order for it to be authentic, you have to make what is on this computer look exactly like what is on that computer. So I'm basically creating a phishing attack. So when you click on the link, you will go to our website, and the website will look exactly like the real one. But what's really happening is that it's really on this computer, and it's not the actual server you're getting it from. And therefore, I'll be able to steal the username and password, right? So what I'm going to be doing is going to use a web template, right? So in this case, I'm going to use a template, and the template I'm going to use is, first I have to give my IP address. If I don't give my IP address, then I won't be able to create the attack. So I need to create a new terminal window. And in order to find out my IP address, I have to run a command called ifconfig. On Windows it's ipconfig, but on Linux it's ifconfig, right? So I run ifconfig and I see that my IP address is 192.168.1.98, right? So back to my social engineering toolkit, I'm going to now put in the IP address of my attacking computer. 192.168.1.98. Right, and then I have the choices of which website I want to fake, because I'm using a web template, right? So they have predefined templates. So I could fake Google, I could fake Facebook, I could fake Twitter, and I could fake Yahoo. So I'm going to choose number 2, which is Google. And when I press that, it's going to run some things. It's going to create the server, and it'll be like, do you want to run it? Yes. Okay. I click yes, and it will create all the files that are needed, lay the foundation, and then press enter to continue. Good. Right now, my phishing attack ready. It's waiting to go, right? So what I have here is I have a computer here. This is 192.168.1.98, right? That's the IP address. So this is the IP address of my actual computer here. So what I want to do is I want to get this computer to not go to the actual server. I want to get this computer to go to this IP address 192.168.1.98. So this is running in the background. So now I'm going to go to my what's called this word? My person now. Okay, so this guy here, he comes on his computer and he's like, hey, cool, I want to go to Gmail. Now, before I create the actual clear phishing attack, I'm going to show you how the IP address actually working, right? So I go to my browser on this computer here, which is taking a little longer to open than expected. Come on, browser. I said open Firefox. Open. Yeah, these virtual machines severely underpowered because I only give them like 2 gigs of RAM because I didn't want them to drag down my machine when I run anything, because my laptop have 16 gigs of RAM. So if I give one 4 and the next one 4, then I end up having 8, and then I'll be only running on 8 gigs of RAM, and that's kind of like painful. Alright, so my IP address, the IP address of the attacker, of the computer that is going to do the attack is 192.168.1.98. Now, this is the IP I want the person to put in, but I can't actually trick somebody to be like, hey, just put in this IP address in your bar and it will work. 192.168.1.98. You just do that and everything will be okay. That would be kind of weird. So I have to test to make sure that the actual IP address is working. So when I go to 192.168.1.98, what I'm going to get is a page that makes it look like I'm going to sign into Google. So watch this, right? So I have the sign-in account here. Right, so I'll give my email address, a fake email address, and a password, because I want to prove that live you could give me the email address and the password, and I'll go back to the attacker computer and you will see that the email address and password is harvested. Because right now, technically, I am not on Google's server. I am actually on the man in the middle, which is 192.168.1.98 that I created using Kali Linux, right? So give my email and a password to put in there, man. Wow, all of a sudden the chat gone quiet. All the time, all they talking about, all saying everything now. Now I ask for actual email address and a password. Nobody sending any information. All you help me out now. Alright. I like hello at gmail.com. And what's the password I put in? Make it simple. Alright, cool. So when I click sign in, watch what's going to happen, right? I'm going to click sign in, And what will happen is that it will just jump back to a normal Google page for me. So it just jump back to the Google page. So I would think, like a normal person would be like, oh, the sign-in didn't work properly. All right, that's not a problem. I'll just sign in again, right? Now, when I go back to my actual attacker machine now, watch this. So I'm going into the file system, and I'm going into other locations, and going into computer, and I head to the folder that was created for it, which will be var, and then I go down to www and HTML, and oh my goodness, look, there's a text file named Harvester, right? So when I open up this text file, what I'm going to see is it harvested something. What did it harvest? Email, ilikehalo@gmail.com, password, make it simple. And I just harvested the information from this fake computer, from this first person on the side here, and now I have their email address and their password, because they thought that they were logging into Google, but really and truly I was the man in the middle that was stealing the credentials and harvested it on this particular computer. So yeah, any questions? No questions? Y'all okay with that? Feeling good? Like, it makes sense to you? Yeah. Right. And people will find it where that they didn't go directly to their Gmail. You will find it where they didn't directly go to your Gmail. Remember, this is not for people who are this is not for people who care about technology. This is targeted to people who just use the internet and just think that things go wrong from time to time, and they're not really looking for anything that's weird. That's usually the problem. People don't look for things that are weird. That's why people are the easiest targets. Because when you want to get to something really, really fast, and you'd be like, go to gmail.com and it bounce back to Google, you'd be like, oh gosh, it didn't work, let me just try again. You would try again and you wouldn't really think that something happened in between there. So the goal about this, like people who are smart and people who realize something may be wrong, they would not realize that went to Gmail and they would get all concerned. But for other people, like aunties and uncles and whatnot, they're not going to ask any questions, and boom, your password is there already. So I'm going to demonstrate it again. So I'm closing up this file, and I'm going to go back to this VM over here and go back to the IP address 192.168.1.98, and it will give me the Google sign in again. Same thing as before, right? So I'm going to put in our email address. This is fake@gmail.com, and the password is you have been pawned. I click sign in. Boom, it will try to sign in, it wouldn't work, and it will just go back to the Google page. So I go over here and I open back up the Harvester file, and now I'll have two records inside of it with two different usernames and passwords inside of it. Right, so we have those two things there. Right, so now you're asking yourself, okay, now that it's working, how do I get somebody to go to that IP address without me actually giving them the IP address to go into now, right? So that's when you have to go to the host file, right? Or you could create an HTML file. So we're going to do the first one first, which is create a HTML file with a hyperlink. I hope I remember how to do this, because my HTML, and sometimes I just forget stuff in HTML. Alright, so let's create a HTML file. Let me create a new document. So what you're basically going to do is create a hyperlink, right? Right, untitled document. Come on, document, open. Thanks. It'd be greatly appreciated if you do. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create a file. Jared, you're asking questions that smart people ask. Yes, they do ask for an email and then they ask for a password. But get in your mind that this is not for smart people. This is for people who are vulnerable, people who don't know these things. And if they don't know these things, then they will just sign in normally. They won't even ask any questions. Alright, so let's create a small HTML file. We will call this HTML. And then when you go here, you create body. And then we're going to close the body. Right, that's basically it. Right. And I'm just going for straightforward purposes, I'm going to be like paragraph. Hi, Auntie. I think your Gmail was hacked. Please log in and check, right? And /p and close the tag. And then now I'm going to put the hyperlink, which will be hyperlink syntax is anchor. Now we have to put in the anchor tag A and then href equals, and then you have to put the URL. So I'm going to put http ://192.168.1.98, and then I'm going to put the text log in here. I hope this works. Somehow I feel like I missed out something in HTML, but we'll see. Alright, so I'm going to go to File, Save As, Save. Well, I can't save it as. Save. Okay, cool. Alright, so this is untitled document. I put it .html. .html. Alright, so let me see what I'm going to open it. Alright, good. So it opened up on the page, right? So imagine I send you an email and I just put the HTML code inside of it and I'll be like, hi Auntie, I think your Gmail was hacked, please log in and check, right? Now you are the trusted person, but remember the email is not coming from a trusted person, the email is coming from somebody who is like a lion, right? So this is what phishing emails look like. You would send an email to somebody, make it look like it came from the bank, and then when it looks like it came from the bank, the message will not be hi Auntie, or think your Gmail was hacked. It'll be like, this is a message from Scotiabank, or this is a message from Digicel, or whoever it is, and they will tell you all sorts of words and put things in bold and use the exact colors and all that kind of stuff. But because of my demonstration, I don't have time for all of that. But you understand what they will do. They will take the HTML that they know and create a really, 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 really good looking page. And then they will have a hyperlink in it. Now the hyperlink here says login here. But you don't know that behind this hyperlink is actually the IP address 192.168.1.98. So when I click here, it's going to go to the IP address 192.168.1.98. But they're not going to look at the top here. Because 90% of the people, yeah, close it. 90% of the people not going to look at the URL bar to see if they actually have the IP address there or gmail.com there. Right? Because when you go to normal gmail.com, you would see gmail.com on top there, and it will show you the Gmail page. But remember, 90% of people aren't going to do that, especially older folks. So this is why they are so vulnerable to these sort of attacks. So I'm on the page, and then Auntie will just go and click and be like, oh, let me just log in and make sure. So Auntie at, just now, I'm going to just make sure this page, I have this closed here. Hello. Woo. I remember the password there? Okay, cool. Alright, yeah. So I had to make sure this closed, the text file closed. And then I'm going to put in Auntie at gmail.com, and then Auntie's name is her favorite dog, which was Sparky 1. Sign in. Auntie tried to sign in and realized that it went straight back to the Google page, and Auntie don't know what's going on, and Auntie will just close, right? So then I go into the Harvester and open it up, and I will see the stuff there from Auntie, right? Auntie at gmail.com Sparky, right? Good. So what is happening here is that a fake address page has been created called index.html here, and then a PHP page in the background to basically grab the credentials. So if I open up this page, index.html, inside Kali Linux, because remember this is from the attacker side, this is what the page will look like. The page is a straightforward page that will display anything that you want it to display. So when it decides to open, you will see that it's literally the Google login page. You could go and edit the HTML inside this page and make it look like any website that you want, and it won't matter. Once you're good enough for the HTML, nobody will know. So what happens here is I open up the index.html. This is the actual page that they are seeing when they log in from the victim computer. So they log in and they see index.html. Right now it's just a Google page. If I wanted to, I could go and edit this HTML page and turn it into any page I want it to look like. So I can make it look like a bank page, I can make it look like a Facebook page, I can make it look like an Instagram page, I can make it look like wherever. And all I have to do is make sure that I do the HTML properly there, and then I edit this PHP file, and I make sure that the code is correct to grab the information from the particular location, right? So you see this here, this code here, harvester.txt, this is where the harvester is going to be. The file input contents, the code is $file, print R, post true, which is basically pull all the information from the particular page that I do, and then URL, the URL that I will go to after, if it fails, is go straight to google.com. So that's basically what happens. So what you need to understand is that there are things to look for when you are being phished. When a phishing attack is taking place, you have two things to look for. You have to make sure that you understand that you must check what the URL bar has when you are logging in. So watch this very, very, very carefully, right? I go and click on I'm going to click on where the link that I created. Hold on. Alright, yeah. So I'm going to click on this page, right? Watch something very, very carefully. You'll only see it for like 2 seconds. When I click on this, watch the URL bar on top here. You will see that it will switch to IP address first before it goes in. So when I click here, you see it goes into 192.168.1.98. The moment you see an IP address come up in your URL bar, tell yourself you are being attacked. Now usually the lamest of the lame hackers will just use an IP address, but most of the times this IP address will be masked under something like something dot something dot 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 something dot something dot something, right? So usually in the URL bar, the biggest telltale is that the URL will not say the actual site that you're on, or if it is going to say that the actual site you're on, it will say something like gmail.com with a 0 instead of a O. So instead of seeing gmail.com, you will see gmail.c0m. But because the 0 here and the 0 here that I will see on the browser, because on the browser they wouldn't put the O so big, the O will look like a 0, so look a little longer, right? But remember, Auntie ain't looking for that. So they will see gmail.com and be like, yeah, I am on gmail.com, but really and truly this is a 0. So you want to make sure that you check the URL, because right now if I look at the URL, I am seeing an IP address, which is clearly obvious that something is wrong. Definitely, I seen an IP address. But if somebody sees the somebody sees a URL that looks very weird, then you shouldn't sign in here at all, because the moment you sign in here, then the attacker will be able to get your information in the text file that is inside this part of Linux here. Yeah. So to guard against a phishing attack, what you have to do is you need to understand what is happening. And what is happening is a fake HTML page has been created that is pushing you towards it. And when you go to that fake HTML page, you'll end up being you'll end up being pushed into a post using PHP that will be able to pull the information. All right. All right, any questions? Let me just go back to this diagram here and make sure y'all understand what happened here. So the victim saw the page, they put in the username and password, and put in the username and password, the man in the middle grabbed it and then sent it to the server, and then the authentication came back and you got google.com. Now, I could always send you to the Gmail page if I want to. So like let me show you the PHP file again. Right, in this PHP file, watch here. You will see that when it's done, it's going to go to http://www.google.com. I could easily change this to go to gmail.com, and as soon as the login fails, it will just go back to the Gmail page, and it will be less suspicious, because remember, the least suspicion you could cause, the easier it is. And I will leave the post.php, right? So again, that was it. Phishing attack. I create a fake server. Once I create that fake server, I need to know what my IP address is. I open up the correct tool, which in this case is called set. I choose the particular type of attack I want to do. It creates the server. Once it creates the server, all I have to do is trick somebody to go to the IP address. In order to trick them to go to the IP address, I just create a simple HTML page and link it, which will be like this. But of course, when you create an HTML page, when real hacker people create an HTML page, they won't just have a simple text here and then log in here. They will have a lot more sophisticated things. They will build the website in such a way, they'll use CSS and all kind of things to make the website look real good. And then once the website is looking really, really good, it will be easier to trick somebody into clicking the link or putting in the information. And then once they click on the link, then you just go back to the harvester, open up your text file, and you have the username and password. Once you have that person username and password, what they will do after that is they will log in as you and immediately change your password. And once they immediately change your password, then you will be locked out of that account. And that's how they harvest credentials. Now, where this happens a lot is when people get emails or when they get messages, like in groups, right? So you just in a little WhatsApp group and they're like, hey, click here for free music. Whoa. And then all of a sudden your eyes light up and you're like, yeah, free music? Of course, I will do that. And then when you click there, they will tell you login. right? And they'll ask you to log in with your Google account, right? And then you need to see the username and password. But remember, you are not studying the login part. All you're studying is that you saw free music. Why are you studying that you saw free music? Because remember, you are attacking the human, you're not attacking the computer. If we were attacking the computer, then we'd have to try to go to Google servers, break into Google servers, and try to crack the database and get the passwords, which will most likely be hashed or that kind of thing. So that's not really gonna make sense. So all you have to do is try to get something that a human would want for free, and then once the human wants that thing badly enough for free, they will basically log in without even thinking twice, because remember, their focus will be on this. Once their focus is on that, then the second part of it is not going to happen, which is exactly what a magician does. A magician is make you focus on one thing while they're stealing things from your pocket. So you'll be like, hey, watch this, and the next hand is like taking something out of your pocket. So the goal is attack the human, and that's the whole point of a phishing attack. A phishing attack is made to attack the human by making them think that they are going to a legitimate site, and when they go to the legitimate site and they don't realize that is being stolen, is only after the fact has happened. Right? So don't tell anybody this, that I do this. I'm telling you how to avoid it. But I just showed you how to do it, because in order to know how to avoid something, it's a lot easier to know how to defend against something if you know how the attack is. So if you know how, if you don't know how your enemy gonna attack, it'll be really hard to defend. And I have done this already in my school, in class, in our WhatsApp group. I created a fake website and whatnot, and put the link in our chat. And the thing I put in the chat is get free something, or get this for free, or get tickets for something here free. And all the children click on it and they put in their passwords and whatnot. But of course it was for a demonstration, and I just kind of delete the file after. But I was demonstrating it to my computer science class. And they were like, whoa, it's so easy to get catch out here. And I'm like, yeah, it's so easy to get catch. So even you might think you know a whole set of things about, the page supposed to look like this, and Gmail is supposed to make you log in twice or whatnot. But when your brain is focused on the free thing that you're going to get, your guard is going to drop. Which is kind of like how you poison dogs. When you want to poison a dog because you want to break into a house, you just put free meat for the dog, and the dog doesn't study. But wait now, this is not the normal person who's giving meat. This is not the timers normally get food. But hey, meat is in front of me and it's free, so therefore I'm going to eat it. So don't think that you are incapable of being caught with this. You are very, very capable of being caught with this. But it just needs to touch the right buttons. So if you see free PS5, or get something, some discount on your PS5, or you get this game for free, or click here to get your results for CXC on the 21st or some kind of thing like that, and you'll be like, hey, I could get my results early. And then when you click, it asks you to log in with your Gmail address, and you'll be like, whatever, yes, I want to get my results and whatnot. That is how they attack you. That's how they think. They think about, hey, what will this person most likely click on without thinking? What bait will they take? Because remember, you're trying to catch them by putting a fish. And the last thing I wanted to show you all is nobody drops a fish, a hook into a lake just to write what is upon the fish. What do they put on the fish? They put a worm. So the actual hook doesn't look like a hook. The actual hook looks like a worm. So all you have to do when you're doing a phishing attack is figure out which worm is going to get the fish to bite. And if I get that fish to bite that worm, they won't realize that there is a hook on it. And if they don't realize there's a hook on it, well, you win. That's how phishing is. So a lot of people will watch these kind of things and be like, nah, never me. I'll never get catch. Like, I'll never be the auntie who would just be like, click on a link in an email. Why would I even do that? But how many times y'all get links in WhatsApp groups and you just click on the link one time and they're like, yeah, just click on the link because you trust the person that's sending it. But sometimes the person that is sending it is being used, or they themselves have been hacked, and now you're going to get catch in your process. So that's how you do a phishing attack. That's one way to harvest credentials. The next way I'll show you how to harvest credentials next week is a HTTP strip, to strip a page for HTTP information. So whenever they send a username and password, you'll be able to pull it from the communication. That one is not a man in the middle. That's basically you're passing the communication through your server, and then you're pulling the credentials down. So you don't actually have to have user interaction for that one to work. That one will take a little more time to do, but I will show you it. I'll try to show you all that one next week. But this is a really big problem in the internet right now. Everybody is getting caught in phishing attacks. Yeah. If Kali working on Windows, no, you have to use a VM. You have to use a virtual machine. You have to use VM, which is virtual machine player. Is a free thing. You just VMware workstation. Right now I'm using 12. I think they probably have 13 right now, but it doesn't matter too much. So you just install VMware, and then you create a new virtual machine, and you install your operating system. So right now I have Kali Linux, I have Ubuntu, and then I have Ubuntu Studio. Usually Linux is the easiest one to install because Linux is free. So all you have to do is like download the ISO. I want to say download the ISO, it will work. So this is what VMware looks like, workstation. And then you create a new virtual machine. When you click create a new virtual machine, it will ask you what type of virtual machine you want to use, and then choose which ISO you want to put. And that's what's happened. So kids, whenever you see a link anywhere and you click on it and it's asking you to log into somewhere, don't log in, because you need to check the URL that you have been sent to make sure that that URL is not a man in the middle attack that's taken place, because it could be very well be another server that is going to harvest your credentials. And this was just proven to you today by me, because I know a little thing or two about ethical hacking from a little course I did a few years ago. This one is kind of straightforwardly easy to do, because all you need to do is know how to use a simple command line program and understand the concept of how things are transferred on the internet. If you understand the concept, you could just jump in the middle anytime and steal whatever. Alright, any questions before I go? I don't know if I'll try to edit out this video and make it shorter, because most people are not going to listen to me talk a whole lot about this. Actually, there are some people who will be like, let me watch this whole video because this looks interesting. But then there's some people who won't. So when you go to school and your teacher teaching you about a phishing attack, and they explaining all the kind of things about a phishing attack to you, and they be like, sir, you ever see a phishing attack done before? Or miss, have you ever seen somebody do a phishing attack? And they be like, well, yeah, in theory it's possible for you to do this. You'll be like, hey, I had this man on YouTube from Trinidad, Mr. Charles. He actually did one live. Let's watch it as a class project now, miss or sir. And then your miss or sir will be like, okay, let's watch it as a class project. And then you will be able to educate them in the process. Alright, so I'm closing up on 2 virtual machines there. Great. Alright, so that's just about an hour. You're welcome. So I'll check all you back next week now. Next week Sunday, I'll try to set up the lab for the HTTP one, where it would strip the HTTP information. So it's basically like a message passing, and you just pulling out the information that you want from it. Nice. Alright. Goodbye. Remember Tuesday night Halo, right? For those of y'all who not on the Halo sweat, let me know, and just either DM me, WhatsApp me. You could message on you could comment on one of the Halo. I think I have one of the Halo lives up right now, so you could comment on that if you want to come inside. I'll send you the link to jump in on the WhatsApp group, because Tuesday night and Thursday night we sweating Halo until results come out. No, not until results come out. Until or you could play if all you want. I mean, but I will be sweating and putting it live until I have until school start back, and I have to do real work every single day. Right now on vacation, so that's why I could sweat Halo. Other than that, I really don't have time for that in my life. So, Bye bye. You're welcome. Look out for the My Caribbean Story videos coming out this week, and we will the voting starting this week for My Caribbean Story. Some of the stories are real kicks. I laugh real plenty when I was watching them and creating new videos for them. So we're good to go. Bye bye.